I'm really super happy to talk to Charlotte Lewis today. Charlotte, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Hi, it's so lovely to be talking to you too. I am a holistic psychologist, and what that means is I've got a background, an academic background in psychology, but I love using kind of multi-modality. So bringing into that somatic work, breath work, tapping, meditation. I'm a meditation teacher too, and a Reiki practitioner. So I love to use a mind, body, soul approach to working with women. And really, I think it's about helping women rediscover themselves and to create a lot of self-compassion for who we all are. I think whether it's a history societally of us being critical of ourselves or society being critical of women, I think there's a lot of healing and self-love that needs to go on. We can't be everything to everyone, but we can kind of be kind to ourselves as we try and navigate the way that we do it. So yeah, it's something I'm very passionate about, and it's something I'm just delighted to be doing at the moment.
Charlotte, I love that. I always think we need people who attack issues from lots of different sides, so you can give a more holistic healing experience to the person coming to look for something like that. Charlotte, what would you say? How did you get to this space? So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I always knew I wanted to be a psychologist, and I grew up in a very holistic household. So if when we were kids, if we were stressed, about exams or something, my mum would take us to get an Indian head massage or or to a homeopath. So it's been very normal for me to have these, like alternative healing modalities growing up. But I always knew I wanted to be a psychologist, and I studied at university a degree and a master's. And for whatever reason, I ended up going into television and movies in marketing. The Bright Lights of London called me and I sidestepped this for a little bit, but it gave me a good sense of working with really big characters and creative people. But the calling was always there to go back, and it was always a matter of time until I'd complete my training. So I became a mother, and while I was pregnant and while I was raising my little girl when she was a baby, I started retraining and working with women, and it had become so important to me to support women as a kind of feminist and somebody working in quite a high-paced job, but with a lot of creative and incredible women around. I think as I approached 40, she said it, I kind of had this really good sense of who I was and who other women were, and this huge experience of people. And I think I just became really like solidified in what I wanted to do. So I retrained and I worked with a lot of women and young people as well. And I can't really describe it other than it being my soul calling. And rather than it being a whisper when I was younger, it was screaming at me like, this is what you are supposed to do. You need to, everything I read and everything I consumed was about women and awakening, and it's got these kind of healing journeys. So I did that, and and in that time my own marriage broke up. I had some birth trauma, I had a lot of life experience, traumatic, joyful, otherwise. It's just getting older and having more experience, and I guess I kind of felt more able to walk into that space and own it and come from a place of knowledge and experience and be able to share that with people, where I think when I was younger I was nervous of being able to really guide women when I hadn't had that life experience. So yeah, it's I feel very passionate about getting women together and running women's circles and supporting women one-on-one in their journey of discovery and like I was saying at the beginning, of self-forgiveness really, and of kind of self-kindness.
Amazing, Charlotte. I love that. Charlotte, what would you say is your main motivator now that you hold the space with so many tools?
um I guess my main motivator, I think there's a big, I don't know if this is quite, I think there's a big wound for women. I think we had to, I think we had to fight to find a place at the table. And whilst I don't know if there's equality yet, there's a lot of wounding, a lot of women in their masculine or coming from a place of intergenerational trauma, really. And I think there's a lot of kind of rediscovering our innate wisdom and our innate worth as women, and just gently owning that beautiful kind of power that we have. And whether it's as mothers, whether it's as friends, whether it's as, you know, groups of women who come together, it's just this beautiful space. I mean, I was saying to you before that I've just come straight from yoga, and it's this incredible group of women. Most of them are grandmothers, and somehow I've ended up with them in this group, and they are the most unbelievable sort of wise guides. These, I think, when women come together and support each other, it's just the most magical of experiences. So it's just about creating permission to just be in that space and take up the space that you're in, you know.
Beautiful. I love that. Charlotte, that leads to my next question. What do you think is your superpower? I mean, I understand that you hold a lot of modalities, you have a lot of tools in your tool belt. What is your superpower?
I think my superpower is not unique to me. I think a lot of us have it, but it's like a deep empathy or sort of high sensitivity that a lot of people have, which is a real intuition and knowing about certain things. And through learning modalities through psychology or any kind of meditation or as I say, Reiki or spirituality or anything like that, we can harness them. But most of us have them within us, and it's just a sense of tapping into that and trusting yourself, that deep soul level intuition, gut feeling. You could explain it through science, through psychology, through spirituality, any which way, any way that feels comfortable for you. But we all have it and we know it. You know, when you walk into a room and something in your gut just shouts at you, when you stop and you learn to listen to that and you learn to trust it, it's a very, very powerful thing. And I think that's a superpower that I have, but that we all have too.
Amazing. Charlotte, what would your top tips be for other women? So maybe in your case, give us some top tips of how to harness those.
It can be really, it can be really hard. And I think some of the things that we've touched on apply to everybody. So I think, first of all, it's about tune into who you are. Who are you at your absolute core? What genuinely sets your soul on fire? Like, what could you not live without? Or what makes you just experience the most profound joy or the most profound fulfillment? And once you're tapped into that, or even just the most profound peace, and once you're tapped into that feeling that just feels comfortable and right and a kind of yes, then it's about having the self-confidence and belief that you can embody that in whichever way feels right for you. There isn't a set path, I don't think, for everybody. And I think it's okay to have chapters in your life, you know, chapters that you can move through a chapter, turn the page, and that can still have been a great chapter, even if it's not for you anymore. So you're not making wrong choices. You're just collecting experience along the way. So you can go from one thing to another thing. I'm not saying be flighty, but I just mean follow where you're supposed to be going. It's all leading you on your path. And I think if you just have, you know, self-compassion for your journey and for who you are, for what's guiding you, you're not, you know, you're building experience and you're learning from it all the time. And I think those steps will lead you to where you're meant to go. If you have a vision and you're following what feels right for you, I think that that's really important.
I love that, Charlotte. Thank you so much. And I think we are so deeply conditioned, which is what you talked about earlier, and we have to sort of be more aware of that. Charlotte, what are your plans or dreams for your future?
Well, it's interesting that you mention it. I just had a meeting this morning actually with my kind of future business partner, and we have got a really beautiful plan that's still a little bud that she'll probably be cross with me for saying this because I'm just saying it off the top of my head. But we want to expand into a kind of wellbeing festival and retreat space, and she has this beautiful experience in music and festivals, and I've got experience in marketing and our like love of well-being. So we just want to connect with more women, more families, more people, men might be allowed to, and just bring a bit of joy and a bit of like well-being to everybody, really. So we're in the process of planning this big, lovely, wonderful event thing.
Oh, Charlotte, thank you so much for talking to me today.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely to meet you.